Hey guys, Optimus Prime here. Today we're going to talk about possibly the best welder ever created, the AC-225 Transformer Buzz Box. So this is the Lincon Electric AC-225 amp stick welder, and it's probably the most common welding machine ever created. So if these machines are so popular, then why does no one sell them anymore? Well, it boils down to cost. The profit margins you can get from a big transformer welder are a lot smaller than you can with an inverter welder, and I'm going to explain why. So a large proportion of the cost of goods is actually the transportation and storage of those items. It's not the actual materials that make them up. So this is my 160 amp inverter welder, and it weighs about 10 kilograms and it fits in my hand. Whereas this is a transformer welder that's 225 amps and it weighs about 50 kilograms or so, and it's way bigger. This makes it a lot more expensive to ship places and store for companies. The second reason is that inverters can be made at a much lower cost than transformers can. These can be just thrown together by a bunch of junk and they still work. The third reason is power usage. The more efficient inverter technology means they can run off of less powerful power supplies. So if you're in the US, many inverters can run on 115 volts, whereas transformers typically require 230. In Australia, inverters can run between the 10 amp and 15 amp plugs, so they'll fit in most regular sockets, whereas transformers require 32 amp power, which you'll need an electrician to wire up for you. And finally, the fourth reason, AC stick welding is sort of going out of fashion. DC welding is more commonly used now, and people are starting to frown on AC stick welding. If you want to know more about that, I talk about it in one of these corners. Go watch that video. So if inverter welders are really that much better, then why do so many people still use transformers? The first reason is life expectancy. This AC-225 is between 50 and 70 years old, and it still runs perfectly. Whereas inverters have a very low life compared to these. They probably last maybe 3 to 5 years. With the new culture of our society of using something a couple times and then throwing it away, inverters are a much better fit. No one really wants to make things that last so long anymore because no one's going to use them to their capability. The second reason is that used transformer welders can be purchased at a very low price and still weld fine. Plenty of people want to get rid of these nowadays, so you can buy them for almost scrap value. I got mine for about $150. On the topic of cost, a new inverter welder will easily cost you twice as much as a used buzz box, even though this still has much more life in it than this will. The third reason is durability. These things can take a beating. There have been stories of people dropping them from several meters height and they still work. Also, people who their house has gotten flooded in and it's been underwater, let it dry out, it still turns on. These things can really take abuse, so it's no wonder that they last so long. Whereas inverter welders, if you just drop this once, it completely shatters to pieces because they're just not built as sturdy. The next reason is that these come equipped with 225 amps. Just to give you an idea, the closest thing that you can compare it to is one of these lunchbox inverters. This one cost about $350 and this one cost me $150. This one only goes up to 160 amps. The final reason is that transformers produce AC current. Many stick electrodes like 6011 and 6013 run a lot better on AC, and you don't get something called arc blow. The changing currents of AC, flipping back from electronegative to electropositive, prevent a magnetic field from being created, which screws up your weld. So if you can find a used Lincon Electric AC-225 for sale, I highly recommend buying one. These things are a dime a dozen, and you can easily find them on places like Craigslist. Now, if you're in Australia, this might not be the best option for you, mainly because these are way less common in Australia than in the US, for whatever reason. Now, if you live in Australia, a buzzbox might not be the best option. The supply of them in Australia just isn't that great, whereas in the US, there's millions of them that are searching for a home. In addition to this, you're going to need to get a 32 amp plug wired into your house, which cost us an extra $400, so that put the price up to $550. Still definitely worth it for what you get, but it's just something to think about. Anyway, if you were wondering more specifically about this welder, I suggest you watch my video of unboxing and testing it. I'll be filming a video soon about the restoration of this because this is in much better shape, but I won't talk about that now. Thanks for watching, guys. You know what to do. Subscribe, like, comment. Thanks, y'all. God bless. See y'all.